This is Justin AMZN for Friday, August 30th, 2019. Yes, it's been a holiday weekend, and I'm just getting around to the video. Yeah, it's still kind of weird to be saying August now that it's about to be September 3rd and the market opens up. But yeah, so Friday we had a really nice gap up Friday morning and pushed pushed up right up into Thursday's highs and then sold off again. So even though this was a bit of a wedge, just didn't help things get going bullish. We were staying really in this range again for another day. You know, we were in that range on Thursday and it again Friday until it didn't do a double bottom. It put in a really nice hammer here and pretty nice one here, but it didn't bounce. And actually, I don't even think we really got a decent close. Yeah, that would have been really too tight to have that candle be the close above that candle. But I guess technically it was a close above. But anyway, that was it. It just was a few pennies above or something like that. Uh, this was a little bit of a S curve and it continued lower and then hit this low again later in the day. Had a nice little bounce there. And then what I really like to see on Expiration Friday is a little bit of a directional move right into the close. And this just was setting up really well. There's some good money that can be made here. The only psychological issue when you're trying to do that in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes of the market before it closes, especially before a holiday weekend, is if you trade it wrong, or if you lose money on it, or if you miss it, any of those things, it sits with you for the weekend until really the next week where you have another opportunity to do it again. And, you know, there's maybe 52 of those a year, maybe not. It's just something that takes a little longer to practice and really get right. And so this is one where I was watching this and didn't trade this bullish, but I was like, I was watching the candles. I'm like, this looks like it's going to pop. I mean, it's been sideways for 4 hours. 4 hours, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, more or less. I mean, it had some decent move, you know, some choppiness here. There was some directional trading you could have done there, but just looking at this, I just something about where it was moving and how it was going is the look that I was seeing was a bit of a bullish pop. And if we jump into this is the 1775, you literally could have been buying it for under $10 and gotten up to let's say $2 or $200. So 20 times 20, 10 up to or 10 cents up to $2. Yeah, 20 times your what you risked in a matter of minutes. Like literally, it was that kind of a pop. And now obviously you could have been on the wrong side of that and gone from 10 cents down to zero or something like that if you were getting into puts there. Um, but still, it's like if you're risking $10, like know what to risk and just top in the trade. And you know another way to do it would be to just go um, with spending a little bit on some calls and a little bit on some puts and just having orders set up to get out of it before it closes, since we have 20 minutes to do something there. But anyway, this was the smaller move of the day. The bigger move of the day was the sell-off. And so it was really interesting seeing the sell-off. And I'm looking at the 1775 puts again. Where it opened and kind of pushed higher into was still below $1.50. And then 35 minutes later, we were still in that same range, or really right around there. We could have been setting up a trade to buy at 150, and you should have been filled. I mean, should have been filled for less on this candle, and hopefully it would have been filled as it starts to move up on this candle. But for it to sit, kind of straddling a dollar here, all of this kind of a move bearish. It's like this was just really, really large, and it looks like it's starting to take out some lows. It's starting to go lower, and all it's doing really is retesting into previous days pivots, but it just couldn't get going. It couldn't go bullish. We were making, I guess aside from this candle, we were making lower highs from the open, I guess until this one too. That one was a really nice hammer, actually. And at one point, that was starting to put in a Morningstar reversal. But anyway, the edge was bearish, looking for this kind of move to fade or to reject, really pretty much 1800 up here, but reject the highs at this level and sell off. And so that would have been getting into puts. Like I said, getting in at like $1.50 by a dollar. That would have been, $50 risk, or getting in at 150 by 50 cents. That would have been $100 risk. And then here's that move that was an S curve and then continuation. And that would have been this would have been a first great target. So let's say you got in here at 150 and it ran up to 450. That's 3R really, really quickly. If your target was further away, or you were adding to the position, or letting the S curve play out and it's held, I mean, your targets were here, or let's see if these lows correspond to anything. I guess the low here corresponds to this sort of apex, sort of consolidations, closing zone here around 1765. That's right at the lows, or you were getting into the highs of this candle, kind of a retest in that level, and that would have been around here. So still, either of these candles, 1015, 1020. If we look at the puts, 1015, 1020, that would have been getting out. That would have been having your target hit way up here around 10 or 11. So getting in 150 going up to, let's say, 1050, 9, that would have been 9R, that kind of move. So this was the big move of the day, seeing this collapse, and you had plenty of time, really, just to get in bearish, to mitigate your risk. And 150, I think, is okay fill on this, but probably setting an order up to get it at $1, $1.10, something like that, $1.25. I mean, you could have even set your entry even a little bit lower here. Now the calls, however, this is the 1775 calls. Those completely collapsed by large amounts for that, 35, 40 minutes or so. And the only opportunities you had really with the calls, besides this rally one here and the 1775 as well, is probably this hammer bouncing off of earlier in the day support, or where it bounced off there, causing some near-term support. And that would have been by, let's see, what time was that? So that was at 12:15, and it ran up to, for an hour, 1:15. So 12:15, could have been buying for like 75, maybe $1, and that ran up to $3. So you still could have made 2R, 75 up to 275. That would have been a 2R move. Or if you're getting in like 75 by 25, it would have could have gotten 2 of those and then running that up again. Multiple R's on that kind of a move, and that was just a really nice rally here. Pushed right on through the 21. Looked like it was going to S curve and break down, and instead this very next candle, which, let's see, the open and the low are the same, the high and the close are the same. So this was a Marbozu candle right here, and we just continued on up. Made this double top here, retested, rolled down, and so there were a few key opportunities where things were going directional, and seeing this one set up here, just like Thursdays, I thought this was very obvious, yeah, good opportunity to get in bearish and just let it ride. And so hopefully some folks were trading that. I was not, unfortunately, but recognizing the opportunity and being ready to get into that kind of move, just seeing that breakdown. I mean, you could have set up your entry below the low here, or on any sort of these pops, and like I said, with the right option, it was just steady right through here, and you weren't really losing value. You weren't taking out lows here, and so even those pops, the market wasn't giving so much of that back. There was like this anticipation that things could pull back a little more, and seeing that on the options on expiration Friday, seeing the options stay steady, unlike the calls where we're pulling back slightly in the stock, and on the 5 minute, seeing this pullback quite a bit, and then seeing the puts stay steady. It's like, yeah, we're not giving up the premium here. The edge is a little more bearish, a little bit more of a fade, because it did gap up and it pulled back, and it actually made, let's see, I think, is that a bearish engulfing? Yeah, that's a bearish engulfing. So it's very similar, this candle, high wave candle, and a big bearish candle the next day. This is the 21st, the 22nd. So that was Wednesday, Thursday last week, and then the 29th and 30th. High wave candle, pullback candle. This is still setting up that it could pull back further. We could gap down a little bit, retest, roll over, come back down to 1747 again. We still haven't touched the 21 in quite a while. So it's opened the door for a little more of a pullback. Also, if somehow we get some major rally, look for a gap up to around the 21 for bears to want to short from there, but bulls coming in and trapping any of these bigger bearish candles. And pretty steady in the volume, just jumping around a little bit. Just not seeing the bullish caps really play out. That was our case in point the previous week, last week to, I'm talking about the 30th. But anyway, bullish gap and go here, didn't go bullish. Bullish gap and go here, didn't go bullish. Bullish retest gap, went slightly bullish and then rolled over. Here we are again with a bullish retest gap. Just, this was from Wednesday to Thursday was a bullish retest gap. And that was probably one of the better ones where we stayed bullish a little bit better. But, Friday, just another bullish retest gap that just collapsed. And so, we got the squeeze forming. We'll see if we have some more consolidation. But so far, we're just seeing that this is lining up. We've done this for a few weeks now. And, a good chunk of August has been just this sideways action. And we did that back through here. We did that back in January for a whole month, and then into February for a whole month. So we started to kind of break out right. Well, I guess that breakout was the 30th or the 1st of March. So really it was mostly January and February that we were sideways here. We had a few, we had option or earnings, and we had a few pops and collapses, and so I guess kind of that's what I'm anticipating here, because bulls are looking to buy any of these lows down here. Bears are looking to short, because we're staying below the 21, push that lower. It just seems like it's easy for it to go sideways because it's just sucking all the premium in. And then once that dries up, similar to over here where we consolidated, we had a tighter range, volume started dropping off a little bit more here. We've seen a steady volume here. We haven't really seen a big drop off. Even this isn't really a drop off. So for this to go steady, looking back here at the volume, where was volume steady? It's hard to see. Let's see. We've had volume steady through stuff like this as we're just kind of grinding higher. This is just a grind sideways. So let's see. We had some levels through here. That was kind of a topping pattern. This was a really nice bearish retest gap. Retested on the same day. Retested here. If this gap, I know it closed, but if we can't get back up to this level, in the next couple of days, I think I'd anticipate a bigger move to the downside. Still a lot of bearish candles in here, not a lot of bullish. We've had an even split though. 3 of the last 6 candles here have been bearish, but we're just a little bit below where we started out there. And if you add more candles, it's only 4 of the last, what is that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So almost the last 2 weeks, I guess 14, 15. So out of the last 3 weeks of trading days, we've made only 5 bullish candles. What's interesting is this first one of that day was that bearish retest gap that below this line. We're not that far below there. So you can see there's some bullishness coming in. It's just really got to show up on the chart, go sideways a little bit more before it builds some more momentum, and then see if we can shift this momentum a little more positively. So yeah, hope that helps. Hope the long holiday weekend was good, and you were able to take a look at some charts. We'll dive right back in this week to continue to look at the way things are moving on the 5 minute, and yeah, go from there. Hope this helps. This is just AMZN. Thanks.